The kingdom of Valerian looked peaceful from the outside. Its white towers shone in the daylight, its banners danced in the wind, and its streets seemed full of life. But behind the bright walls, behind the royal palace and its rich halls, there stood a lonely tower of gray stone. No music reached it. No sunlight touched its windows. Birds flew past it as if afraid to land on its roof. This was the silent tower, and inside it lived a girl the kingdom had forgotten. Her name was Princess Selene Aramist, the youngest daughter of King Aldrich. She had been brought here when she was only 10 years old. The king announced to the people that she was unstable and must be locked away for her own safety. But the truth was far different. Selene was not unstable. She was different, and her father feared anything he could not control. Now at 19, Selene spent her days sitting near the narrow window, looking out at a world she had never known. The sky was her only friend. She watched the clouds change their shapes. She memorized the stars as if they were pages in a book, and when the moon rose, she felt something warm stir inside her chest. A strange mark rested over her heart, soft, silver, shaped like a small crescent. The people thought that mark was a curse. Selene was starting to believe it too. Some nights she heard a strange voice, like a whisper carried by the wind. It called her name so softly she wondered if she imagined it. Other nights she dreamed of a man with dark eyes so deep they felt endless. In her dreams he always stood in shadows, watching her as though he knew her better than she knew herself. She never told anyone about the dreams. The guards would think she had truly gone mad. Selene sighed and traced her fingers against the cold stone wall. "If only I could see the world," she whispered. Just once. But dreams were all she had. Far beyond the kingdom's borders, beyond its rivers and fields, there lay a land of dark mountains and crimson forests. This was the realm of the Bloodborn, a race of powerful beings who lived under the rule of the alpha vampire, Lord Valen Dracovar. Valen was feared by all kingdoms and respected by every clan. He had lived for centuries, fought countless wars, and carried the weight of old promises. His strength was unmatched. His presence alone could silence an army, but even the strongest beings could break. Valen carried a curse deep in his soul. His immortality was slowly fading, turning his inner fire into cold ash. No healer could save him. No magic could stop what had begun. Only one prophecy remained, a prophecy older than any kingdom. A heart marked by moonfire will unbind the eternal night. For years Valen had searched for the one who carried the moonfire mark. For years he found nothing but lies and empty rumors. But one night his scouts brought him a message from Valerian. A princess was locked away, a girl with a strange silver mark over her heart. A girl the kingdom called unstable. Valen's eyes darkened like a storm. At last, a true lead. He knew the journey would be dangerous. Entering Valerian meant risking war, but he had no choice. His time was running out, and the prophecy was his only hope. A storm rolled across the sky the night Valen arrived at the silent tower. Lightning flashed, lighting the stone walls. Rain soaked his cloak, but he moved like a shadow among shadows. Guards patrolled the courtyard, but none saw him. Their torches flickered when he passed, as though bowing before him. Inside the tower, Selene sat awake. She had felt a strange shift in the air, like the world was holding its breath. The wind seemed to whisper again, but louder this time, clearer. "He is near." Selene stood, her heart racing. She had never heard the voice speak with such certainty. She stepped closer to the door of her cell. Down below, Valen moved silently through the halls. His steps made no sound. His dark eyes glowed faintly in the torchlight. He felt the pull of the mark guiding him upward. Every floor he climbed, the feeling grew stronger. When he reached the top, he paused. Her aura moved like soft moonlight through the air. Cold stone separated them, but he sensed her as if she were standing right beside him. He touched the iron door. The lock melted quietly. Inside, Selene gasped. He stepped into the room, tall and shadowed, rain dripping from his cloak. His presence filled the small chamber like the night itself had entered. Selene backed away until her shoulders hit the wall, but her eyes did not look away. Something inside her recognized him. He was the man from her dreams. Valen stared at her, stunned. Her hair fell around her shoulders like dark silk. Her silver mark glowed faintly, and her eyes, wide, frightened, bright, held a quiet strength he had not expected. "You," he said softly, almost to himself, "are the Moonfire Heart." Celine swallowed. Who are you? How do you know me? Valen took one slow step forward. My name is Valen Dracovar. I have come for you. Her breathing quickened. For me, why?
Because your power is awakening, and this place will destroy you. His voice was deep, steady, but something in it cracked, like he was fighting something inside himself. Celine shook her head.
I don't have power. I only have a curse. Valen's eyes narrowed. You have been lied to. Lightning flashed behind the window. The room glowed white for an instant. Celine noticed the faint tiredness in his face, the subtle pain behind his calm expression. You're suffering, she whispered. He paused, surprised that she could see it so easily. Before he could respond, the sound of metal boots echoed up the stairs. The guards had discovered the broken lock. Valen turned toward the door, his expression cold. Celine took a step forward. Please, she whispered, don't hurt them. Her voice trembled not with fear but with kindness. Valen looked at her in silence for a moment, then nodded once. I will not hurt them, he said softly, but we must leave. Celine hesitated. The tower had been her prison for years, but it was also all she knew. Stepping outside meant facing everything she feared, everything her father warned her about. Valen saw her fear. His voice lowered, gentler than she expected from someone so powerful. I am not your enemy, Celine. Her breath caught. No one had said her name with such care in years. The guards' shouts grew louder. Celine placed her hand over her glowing mark. Her pulse throbbed beneath it. The moonfire inside her stirred, burning hotter than ever. She looked into Valen's dark eyes. There was danger there, yes, but there was also a strange safety, an odd calm that pulled her toward him. Will you free me? She whispered. Valen reached out his hand. His voice dropped to a soft promise. Yes. The moment she touched his hand, a burst of silver light shot through the room. Her restraints cracked. The walls trembled. The guards at the stairwell stumbled back in fear. Celine gasped as the moonfire surged through her veins like living light. Valen steadied her, holding her firmly but gently. We must go, he said. The tower door burst open. Soldiers shouted and pointed their spears. Valen lifted Celine into his arms as easily as lifting a feather. She felt warmth from him, steady and strong, keeping her from falling apart. The window was their only exit. Celine's voice shook. If I leave, everything will change. Valen stepped onto the windowsill, rain crashing around them. Yes, he said, looking down at her. Everything will. Thunder roared as he leaped into the storm, holding her close as they vanished into the night. Behind them, the kingdom's alarm bells rang loudly, a sound that would mark the beginning of war. And for the first time in her life, Celine felt not fear, but freedom. The night was wild as Valen carried Celine through the storm. Rain struck his cloak, wind pushed against him, but he moved with the strength of someone who had walked through centuries. Celine clung softly to him, her heart beating fast, her mark glowing under her hand like a small silver flame. Below them, the kingdom of Alarion grew smaller and smaller. The bells continued ringing in the distance louder than thunder. Soldiers shouted in the courtyards, torches lit the palace walls, and the king himself was awakened from sleep with shock and fear. The unstable daughter he had hidden away for years was gone, and she had escaped with the alpha vampire. The wind softened as Valen reached the dark forest outside the kingdom. He landed silently among the tall trees and lowered Celine gently onto the ground. Fresh rain covered the leaves and the ground smelled of earth and storm. Celine held onto his arm for a moment, steadying herself. Her legs felt weak. Her heart still raced. This was the first time she had touched real grass in almost 10 years. It's cold, she whispered. Valen removed his cloak and wrapped it around her shoulders. The cloth was warm from his body, and Celine felt a surprising comfort. Thank you, she said softly. Valen did not answer at once. He was watching her mark, which still shone faintly even under the cloak. You were not meant to stay in that tower, he said. Your power is rising faster than I expected. Celine looked at her hands, confused. I never asked for this power. No one asked for destiny, Valen replied. But destiny comes anyway. Celine lowered her eyes. She felt a strange mix of fear and hope. Fear of the unknown. Hope for something better than the life she had left behind. Where are we going? She asked quietly. To my citadel, Valen said. You will be safe there, and you will learn to control your moonfire. Celine nodded slowly. For the first time in her life, someone spoke to her as if she deserved control. Valen offered his hand. Come, we have a long journey. Celine took it without hesitation, and together they disappeared into the night. Days passed as they traveled through the wild lands. Celine learned that the world outside her tower was far bigger than she ever imagined. Villages slept beneath glowing lanterns. Rivers moved like mirrors under the moon. Forests whispered with strange magic. Sometimes she felt joy, simple joy, just from breathing fresh air or feeling sunlight on her face. Valen watched her quietly. He never said much, but she noticed how he always stayed one step closer to her when they walked through dangerous paths. He hunted only when she was sleeping. He never complained, even when rain soaked his clothes or wind cut against their faces. Celine wondered why someone so powerful treated her with such quiet care. One night, while they were resting near a large oak tree, she finally asked, Valen, why do you protect me like this? He looked up at the moon before answering. Because you are important. To your prophecy? Celine asked. Or to you? Valen paused. His expression softened just slightly. Both, perhaps. Celine's breath caught. She did not know why her heart reacted so strongly, but something inside her felt warm. She turned away, trying to hide her blush. I see. After 2 more days, giant black mountains rose in the distance. Their peaks cut the sky like sharp blades. At the base of the mountains, half hidden behind mist and stone, lay the entrance to the blood-borne citadel. Celine stared at the towering gate made of dark iron. Strange symbols glowed along its surface. This is your home? She asked quietly. Yes, Valen said, and now yours as well. The gate opened on its own as if recognizing Valen. The inside of the citadel was vast and filled with silence. Tall halls stretched into shadow. Fires burned in crystal lamps that floated above the floor. Dark-cloaked figures moved through the halls, bowing respectfully when Valen passed. But when they saw Celine, their eyes widened in shock. Whispers filled the air. She has the mark. Is it true? Did he really bring her here? Celine lowered her gaze. She felt small again, like she did in the silent tower. Valen noticed her tension. You are safe here, he said gently. She nodded, trusting him. Valen guided her to a quiet room with soft light and a wide window looking over the mountains. It was far more beautiful than anything she had ever seen. This room is yours, he said. Celine looked around in awe. I've never had a room like this. You will rest here. Tomorrow training will begin. Training, Celine repeated. Yes, your moonfire must be learned, not feared. Celine swallowed nervously. What if I fail? You will not fail, Valen said. I will teach you. His voice carried a certainty so strong it settled her heart. She smiled softly. Thank you, Valen. For a moment, something gentle passed between them. A quiet warmth neither of them understood. But before either could speak, a knock echoed at the door. Valen turned with a colder expression. Come in. A tall woman with silver eyes stepped inside. She bowed. My lord, the council demands a meeting. They fear the girl's power. Celine stiffened. Valen's jaw tightened. The council will not speak to her, and no one will touch her. Tell them I will come at sunrise. The woman bowed again and left. Celine looked at him. They fear me? Some do, Valen admitted. But fear is born from ignorance. Once they understand who you are, things will change. Celine nodded slowly, though she was not convinced. The next morning, training began in a quiet courtyard under a pale sky. Celine stood barefoot on stone while Valen circled around her, watching her stance, her breathing, and the faint light under her skin. Moonfire is like water, Valen explained. You cannot force it. You must guide it. Celine took a deep breath. Her mark glowed faintly. She raised her hand, focusing on the warmth inside her chest. A soft silver spark appeared at her fingertips. She gasped. Valen nodded. Good, again, she tried. This time the spark grew brighter. She laughed softly with surprise. It was the first time she had ever felt proud of her power. For days they trained. Some mornings she succeeded. Some mornings she failed. And each time she fell, Valen was there to help her stand again. Celine began to look forward to his voice, his presence, his quiet patience. She noticed how he softened only when speaking to her. She noticed how he looked away when he was trying not to show concern. She noticed how her heart reacted whenever he was near. One evening, after a long day of training, Celine found Valen sitting alone on a balcony. His face looked tired, more tired than she had ever seen. She approached quietly. "Are you hurt?" Valen did not answer at first. He watched the sun set behind the mountains, his eyes filled with something heavy. "My immortality is fading," he said softly. "The curse grows stronger each day." Celine's heart dropped. "Is there no way to stop it?" "There is only the prophecy," he said. "And the prophecy says your moonfire can save me." Celine looked at her hands. "If I cannot control it fully, then I might fail you." Valen turned to her, his expression gentle but firm. "You are not here to save me, Celine. You are here to discover who you are. Whatever comes after, we will face it together." Her breath trembled. The way he said "together" felt like a promise. But the moment was broken when a horn echoed across the citadel. Valen stood sharply. Celine's eyes widened. "What was that?" "An alarm," Valen said. "Your father has sent an army. They are at our borders." Celine's heart froze. The kingdom wanted her back, but she was no longer the helpless girl locked in the silent tower. She was Moonfire. She was awakened. Valen touched her shoulder gently. "Stay behind me. I will protect you." Celine shook her head. "No, I will stand with you." For a moment, Valen stared at her with a quiet pride. "Then we face this together," he said. When they reached the citadel walls, the sky was filled with soldiers, arrows, and battle cries. Torches burned like angry stars. The king's banners flew in the wind. Celine felt her mark blaze hot under her skin. Valen stepped forward, prepared to defend his people. But before he could move, Celine raised her hand. A soft, silver glow sparked from her fingertips. "Celine," Valen began. But the glow grew brighter, stronger, warmer. Moonfire burst out of her in a wide arc, lighting the dark sky like a second dawn. The soldiers froze. Even the wind paused. Celine's power danced like silver fire across the battlefield. Valen watched her in silence, awe in his eyes. Everything changed in that moment. The insane daughter was gone. The prisoner was gone. Celine had become something new, someone powerful, someone brave, someone free. But as the moonfire began to fade, Celine suddenly staggered. Her face went pale. "Celine!" Valen rushed to catch her as her knees gave way. Her skin felt cold. Her breathing quickened. "What's happening?" she whispered weakly. Valen held her close, fear breaking through his calm. "Your power. It took too much from you." Celine's vision blurred. She gripped his cloak, her voice barely a whisper. "Valen, don't leave me." "I'm here," he whispered. "I won't let anything happen to you." But the prophecy whispered in his mind. To free the immortal soul, the moonfire heart must break. Valen held her tighter, and for the first time in centuries, the alpha vampire felt true fear.